Good afternoon, everybody. You ain't seen little Buster for a while because I haven't been going out digging. So I just thought I'd show you our little bunty, because I know he's well loved. I certainly love him, and I know you all do as well. Look at him. Yes, little honey badger, isn't he? Well, there hasn't been much change for me this last week. It's been about 2 weeks now where I've just been oh look, he's licking the sleeping bag. I don't need a sleeping bag, you know, I can afford proper quilts and that. I have actually got one down there, but it's just lying around and I sometimes use it. There hasn't been much change. Well, no change really. So I won't be going out digging just yet. I ain't got any more tests booked in till another week, and they will probably just be replicating the tests that they did at the A&E a few days back, which didn't find nothing. So I'm in a bit of a pickle. Probably be weeks before I get anything diagnosed. Might be a deficiency or something. Don't know, viewers. But anyway, I'll keep chipping away. I might go out for a couple of hours tomorrow with Steve and Shelley, two lovely local diggers to Evesham. Shout out to them two lovely people. Steve ran me up to the A&E a few days back. Well, nearly a week ago now. Yeah, so it's a metal detecting channel anyway, isn't it? Even if I'm not metal detecting just now. So what questions do you think I should answer the viewers, Bunt? How did you get started? Well, it was about 1988, and I'd just seen adverts for metal detectors occasionally in magazines and that, and I asked my mum to buy me one, and my mum spent 180 quid on a second-hand white coin master, Bunt. Oh, nice. Yeah, she got me a white coin master, and I just used to go into Birkenhead Park. I was only about 19, and I'd go in Birkenhead Park. I'd find old pennies, sixpences, shillings. I'd have to dodge the park wardens. Didn't have a clue. Just digging in there one day, and he's like, "Oi, what do you think you're doing?" I was like, "All right, mate, sorry." Went home. Kept coming back though. Couldn't help myself. I was addicted to metal detecting. Yeah, that was one of my earlier addictions. Still got it. Still addicted. So yeah, some of my best finds out of the park. Dodging the park wardens. Found a big German Panzer tank driver's badge, like big oval, and it had a Panzer in like 3D driving out of the front of the badge. That was cool. Found a Mussolini medal. Found a few English medals from the wars. Nice silver wound badge as well for King and Country on it. My second machine, because that first machine, I took it to the pawn shop. Wasn't a good idea because they only wanted drink or drugs or something. I got 30 quid, I think, for it. But anyway, I don't know, because I've been detecting since then, on and off. So 6 months, maybe a year later, I bought what was my favourite early classic machine, the ones that I used, a Fisher 1265X, the little gold and black ones with the white coil, and I loved it. It had like dual discrimination, so you could set the discrimination in 2 levels, so one fairly high or medium and one quite low, and that was quite cool technology at the time. None of this multi-frequency shenanigans. Yeah, did well with that, but I was 10 years in, probably doing it on and off, and I'd never even, didn't even know, nobody had told me that you're supposed to go to farmers' fields. So, like, yeah, I didn't know any metal detectorists. There was no online forums or Facebook groups. I used to use little hand trowels from the Haberdash store that cost £1. They'd always snap on me. I probably made every mistake in the book when it came to metal detecting because they had nobody to teach me. So that's one of the reasons that when I'm online these days and that, I always make time for new people, give them advice, what sort of starter machine they might want, this and that. Always look out for them, because I always remember not having a clue for so many years. It actually took me 20 years of detecting on and off before I found my first hammered coin, before I found my first Roman coin, and before I found my first gold. And that was all thanks to educating myself through speaking to other diggers and that online eventually. Once I tumbled and I got online, I soon smartened up. And you can see in my videos yourselves, viewers, you've been on these journeys with me for a number of years now. It's actually been, it'll be 7 years, I think, this month that I've been doing the YouTube. So yeah, these days, if I'm lucky, I do find hammered coins and Romans. So if you're new to it, stick at it. Don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. We've all got to start somewhere. We've all got to start with whatever little machine we can get our hands on. It might take a while before you dig something that really makes you smile. I was just watching, what's his face called? Oh, forgot now. Forgot his name. The Australian guy who does all the magnet fishing. I'm not going to be able to think of his name now because I'm trying to think of it. But you know who I mean anyway. Is it Aussie Gold Hunter? I'm not sure. Well, I was just watching him doing his magnet fishing in the canals. He just visited Leiden. It's Adam Staples, good mate, and I've actually met the guy. Bondi Treasure Hunter. Just been watching Bondi Treasure Hunter, and he was in Leiden, which was the birthplace of Rembrandt, and it was a beautiful city. So thanks for showing us Leiden, Bondi. I've not been to that part of Holland. He got about, not far off 10 bikes in his 20-minute video, and that's about all he got. Fair play to you, mate, if that's what floats your boat. I just love your enthusiasm, Bondi. Whether you're dragging up an old nail, half a bike, or a safe full of jewels, you're always buzzing on that next pull. Fair play, mate. Well, it reminded me of the time when I worked in Holland. I worked in Holland around 93, 94 for 2 years. And yeah, it was a journey, I tell you, an experience. I lived initially on a campsite in Monster, not far from the Hook of Holland, where all the greenhouses are located. They call it the Westlands. And I eventually got a job in a greenhouse very close to a little village called Maasdijk. Lovely place. I was, he interviewed about 15 of us from the agency one day, Theo, the boss, and he needed about 10 of us. I was with my mate from Birkenhead. Shout out to Dava. All right, Dava, mate. Me and Dava, and he took one look at Dava and he said, I don't want you. It's true, Dav. I'm not taking a piss. And it wasn't me being nasty. This was the guy. It wasn't me, Dava. He just said, don't want you. And he looked at me and he said, I'll have you. You can be the foreman. So he gave me a car, a caravan, and twice as much an hour than everybody else. Well, you know, a good whack more than them. I was on about £8 an hour, and he gave me a car and a caravan, and I had to make sure they all got in on time, and that. I didn't bother. And he also told me, whatever you do, just stay local in this car, because, yeah, I don't want you running round. Well, the first thing me and David did was went to Rotterdam to score some crack and heroin in it. It was like 30 miles away. So the first thing we done was broke his rule about the car. And on the way back, we were about a junction or two away from the place where we were staying and working. And we had AC/DC on, Highway to Hell, and we had the drugs ready to get into them as soon as we got back. So I was flooring this old Fiat, they call the Fiat 128 or something, old square thing. Flooring it I was. I think we were listening to AC/DC, Highway to Hell. Engine just blew up. First day out in my works vehicle, I broke his rules. I'd gone 30 miles down the road to score Class A drugs in a big metropolis of Rotterdam for the first time. You have to find the new drug dealers, all that. And they were buzzing, and we nearly got back, and the engine just... boom! That engine was all over the place on the motorway. But luckily it blew up right next to an exit ramp. So we pushed it down the ramp, and we blagged it that we were only about 6 miles away from work on one of the back roads. We pushed it down the back road 100 yards. So yeah, that was my first day with Theo, and I worked for him for 2 years. The car that he gave me was his old foreman's. His old foreman was a Egyptian illegal immigrant, and he got nicked and sent back to Egypt. And he worked hard because Theo made me work hard. I was like an Olympic flower picker. I didn't just, it was like, and chuck them up on your shoulder and on the racks and stack them all. I used to be at the end of the conveyor when they put them on the conveyor belt, and people would just be like putting them into bunches of 10 and sending them down. And I'd have hundreds of bunches coming at me, and I'd be like, all fueled by crack and heroin, unfortunately. Yeah, but there you go. I wasn't detecting over there, but a long time afterwards, turned my life around, become a YouTuber, got a following, got some Dutch friends and some Dutch followers. Shout out to Karen Koistra from her big shop over in Holland. She flew me out there one time for a weekender, so I was out there for a weekender meeting my Dutch viewers and that, and buzzing with them. And I was thinking, fuck, you know, I actually ended up homeless after 2 years of working for Theo. So homeless in the streets of Rotterdam. So to one day be flown out there as a metal detecting YouTuber, it was something, you know, because I'd spent some rough days on the streets of Rotterdam. I remember being strung out in a shop doorway, and I was sitting in this doorway of a shop that was closed. It was raining, and I was proper like strung out, and there was an Italian restaurant or something, a restaurant next door to me, and he used to come out and give me like a bagel with a baguette with a bit of ham and cheese in once a day. Bless him. And I was sat there in the rain. I was strung out, and I had no money, no energy. And I had my head bent down. I had my knees up in the doorway, head like that. And it used to be guilders back then. And I just remember imagining this blue 10 guilder note, a little bit like our blue £5 notes. And I just had my head buried in my hands like that. And for about 10 minutes, all I done was, imagine this 10 guilder note that I needed. I didn't want hundreds of guilders or 50 guilders, just 10 guilders. And I sat there like that, and about 10 minutes, and I looked up, and this couple walked past me, and they went in the restaurant next door. But as they walked past me, the lady had dropped her purse. So I picked it up, I took it in, gave it to the lady. She looked at her partner. The man opened his wallet, and he gave me the 10 guilders I'd just been imagining. So that saved me. I got like loads of stories of being on the streets in Holland. I used to go to like, and I was on my own. I had no backup at this point. I was completely on my own. I used to go to like the 24-hour crack houses, you know, them big Dutch, like tall Victorian old buildings or older, and they're all in a row and they're all big and tall. I remember going to one of them, and the dealer was in the attic, and they were all black, I think, Suriname. I think a lot of the people of colour in Holland are from Suriname. This is just how it was. This is no, you know, I'm just saying how it was. So I went in the door this one night, and you couldn't open the door because the hallway behind the door was so crammed. And so I'm squeezed in, can't move, just bodies all the way along the hallway, all the way up the stairs, all the way up each landing for about 4 floors. There was hundreds of people in there. And I was the only white, was the only English guy in there. And I was about that thin. And I squeezed my way all the way up. And I got to the dealer up in the attic. And I bought everything that he had left. I bought him out, basically. And I didn't care that I was surrounded by hundreds of other unfortunate people. I just cast my fate to the wind, viewers. I cast my fate to the wind and to God, and whatever will be, will be. I was lost to heroin and crack at the time, like really lost to it. In the early days of going there, we soon tumbled onto this international drugs ring. I got very lucky in the sense that, no, it's really stupid to do drugs. But when you're in that position, you want a good, reliable source. This flat in Rotterdam that we went to for over 12 months, it was like an international hub. So, and it was run by Moroccans. And I become like their pet Englishman. They buzzed off me because they didn't see many English in there. It was mainly like biker gangs from all across Holland and Germany. So there'd be Hell's Angels in there getting like kilos and all that. And I'd go in there. And anyway, it got really pally with them. And it got to the point where I didn't even have to take any money. He'd do what I used to call a lay-on. So he'd give me my drugs every night without me paying. And then on my payday, if I owed him like, I don't know, say I owed him 800 guilders at the time for the week, I'd go in, and as long as he had a wad in my hand, I'd only have to fan out about 400 guilders. As long as he had a wad in my hand, he never counted it. He was like Father Christmas. And literally he'd sit down on his settee, and there'd be literally a shopping bag, like a Tesco bag, with 6 inches of heroin in the bottom of it next to him. And he started doing the crack, and same with the crack, shopping bag of each. And I went there for like 12 months, and then once a month, all his mules had come from Morocco, and it wasn't a good thing, but I thought it was at the time. But all good things come to an end, and I think the main boss, Abu, had been tipped off that he was due a raid, because he just went missing, and this primo grade quality stuff that he had the best stuff in Rotterdam, which is a massive major hub anyway. He'd had it, the same stuff every day, quality for a year. And anyway, this week, he disappeared and the quality went the opposite. It was not worth buying. And once a month, they'd have all their mules in from Morocco. So I'd squeeze in there and there'd be about 40 Moroccan traffickers in there, you know, couriers, mules. And I went in there this week when it was all going Pete Tong, and his number two guy was there, and he was giving it Charlie Big Spuds in front of all his Moroccan mules. Started giving me down the banks. The boss was lovely, but he wasn't there. And he's showing off, and he goes, you Englishman, you never bring any money, blah, de blah. Where's your money? You're not getting nothing until you pay me tonight. I'd cast my fucking my fate to the wind. I didn't give a flying fuck. Just looked down and was like, hey, dickhead, fucking sort me out now. Fucking Abu always does. Sort me out now. In front of his 40 cutthroat thieves. And he was like, fair play. And he sorted me out. But like I said, it had gone Pete Tong and it wasn't worth having. So that night, I went down. I got in my car. In an old Astra that Theo had replaced the Fiat with. I got in it just round the corner from the flat. I've just gone to turn the key and I've looked like that, and there's a Dutch policeman standing at my window with 2 hands on his pistol. I can't do it with 2 hands because I'm holding the camera, but he had 2 hands on his pistol, and it was like that, just out the window of the car. I'm like looking at it like that, and I just kind of smiled, and I've gone, it's in my sock, it's in my sock. I ain't gonna mess about like that. So they took me down to Rotterdam Central Police Station. They wanted me to draw a map of the flat. They wanted me to draw where all the weapons were. Never was any weapons. So, you know, you just go through the motions. In situations like this, you pretend that you're giving them stuff, but you know that you've only got to walk past one of them Moroccans, and if you've done the wrong thing, you're going to be found in pieces. Part of you might be found in the canal in Holland. So no, they didn't get any information off me. But they did keep me in all night. And they left my car outside with the headlights on. So when I got out, yeah, my car was flat. And that was another story I had to come up with, an excuse from my boss, Theo. But he kept me for 2 years because I was a hard grafter. So there you go. Shout out to Bondi, treasure hunter. Sorry if I've been waffling, viewers. I'm going to try and get better. I love you all, and I know that a lot of you are going to be out digging this weekend. Don't do drugs. Go and find cool shit. In it, Bund. In it. You're fucking crazy, Dad. This is meant to be a metal detecting channel. This is Anglo Celtic metal detecting.